Kind Words is a bit of a strange game to talk about, because talking about it almost arises the question of if it's even a game at all. I mean, you follow the structure like a game, performing actions with the objective from a purely design sense of obtaining more items. You have different actions you can do, Easter eggs to find, your actions directly lead towards the tangible goal, but at the same time, this game doesn't emphasize this, encouraging you not to do good because you might be rewarded, but instead attempting to get you to connect with people from all over the world with their own issues, their own struggles, their own lives. Having the opportunity to leave an impact, no matter how small, on whatever they're going through, and hopefully for the better. It's kind of like a cross between this music player, visualizer, a self-help book, a chat room, an email, a collectathon. More like software than a game in some ways. Look, I can't really dodge this topic here, because this game almost demands that you wear your heart on your sleeve a bit. I deal with some pretty gnarly mental health issues. And when going through a bout of carpal tunnel earlier this year, frustrated and unable to do much of anything following what was a huge success for us as a channel, I found myself in a bit of a funk. Man, I was pissed off, I was bummed out, and to an extent I felt pretty alone. Then Chaos comes out of nowhere and drops this on me, a game I can play one-handed without too much trouble. A game that didn't demand anything other than my heart. And my time with the game would end up being just what I needed to turn that funk around. That's right, I'm back, bitches! And look at me go. Kind Words works like this. When you send your first letter for the day, you'll get a new song given to you from this dear friend who acts as a mailman of sorts. This song will then be added to a playlist that plays while you're doing things throughout the game, kind of going on this loop through the different songs. This music actually adds a pretty comfy atmosphere to everything, and it rewards you for coming back regularly, which is important in a game like this, I think. It encourages you to not just play the game for a few hours in one go and then kind of forget about it. After you get any responses you might have missed while offline to your letters, you get placed in your room. You get a handful to choose from, with different color schemes and styles, and each has its own stickers you can obtain as you play the game, which show up in your room as toys or objects you can interact with for funsies, and from there you can choose what you want to do. This game's big selling point is letters. Each one is anonymous, signed with only the first letter of the name you put in when you started the game for the first time. You can either write a letter, respond to a handful of random ones from users all over the world, or send a paper airplane out that'll randomly appear in other people's rooms flying by. You're pretty free to put whatever you want here, but given the nature of the game, it is pretty heavily monitored. You're not supposed to get personal information, and you're not supposed to be an asshole. Look, man, this is a game where people are looking to get away from it all for a hot minute. If you want to be a dick, you can go anywhere else. This is good vibes only, and honestly, that's probably the only way this can really work. When you send out a letter, it can be about almost anything. Your day, good news, bad news, encouragement. As long as it's not rude or anything, you're pretty much in the clear. Once you're done, your dear friend takes your letter and spreads it out to other people playing the game. And after a while, boom, you get some replies. If you really like a reply, you can then send a sticker you yourself have already received as a thank you. But beyond that, that's the end of your interactions together. It's honestly pretty comfy. It means you're getting a true reaction to what you're talking about. I'm gonna be real, reading letters can honestly be a little bit depressing at times. Honestly, I really almost wish that the game would take a moment to remind you to take breaks if you find yourself trying to respond to every letter you see. For some folks, I can see it actually becoming very easy to become overwhelmed, feeling obligated to try and help everyone with every little problem they have, or even being bummed out that they couldn't do more. With that said, if you find yourself in a slump like that, try to remember that even if you just helped one person in some small way, that means you succeeded. You've made an impact and maybe turned that bad day into something a little bit better. And I think both ways around, that's something incredible that this game managed to pull off. It would have been so easy to slip up somewhere and make this game a total mess, but instead, Pop Cannibal created a relaxing little corner to call its own, where people can share a moment with each other, no matter their walk of life, interests, where we live, who we are. We're just all people looking to share a second with each other, and maybe brighten some things up for someone. The gameplay loop, if you can even call it that, is very fulfilling, but I understand it's not for everyone. Being able to be open, even anonymously, is pretty difficult. And this game isn't a substitute for therapy or mental health care, and really shouldn't be treated as such. Some people struggle to separate themselves from the fears and worries of what others are going through. But regardless if this game as a whole works for everyone or not, I think there's something here for everyone. I also really appreciate this game takes its subject matter so seriously, offering lots of resources in-game if you need help beyond what the game can realistically provide. It shows that the developers truly believe in what this game attempts to accomplish. In the end, this game manages to be what it sets out to be. It's an amazing tool that honestly can really help you if you're just having a bad time. If you're interested in this sort of thing, you absolutely should take a look at it. It's truly a lovely experience. It's not like anything else out there. Sometimes you just need to get something out and know that someone's listening. And when you're feeling down and out, this game can be there for you. I'm gonna leave you with a story today. Back in high school, I had this idea. I wanted to make a club for people who had dealt with bullying or forms of abuse in the school, where anyone could join, sit down, talk about what was on their mind, their experiences, their recoveries, their stories in this worry-free environment, away from everything else, with other people sharing like minds who had been through similar sorts of things. I had a teacher on board and a room lined up, and when I pitched the idea to the vice principal, the idea was shot down at the gate. Too dangerous, too risky. There is no need for such a thing in our perfect little school. There wasn't bullying going on. A month later, we had this big assembly with all the students there, and that same vice principal introduced his own version of the idea I'd pitched to him. This group of 2 students was selected to represent the school in this anti-bullying committee. And the idea was people could go to them if they'd been bullied or some crap about how they were going to really clean things up. Those 2 people gave their speeches, both stating that they had never been bullied or suffered bullying or knew anyone that was bullied, but bullying's real bad, so that's not good and all that. And by the end of the year, the group had all but dissolved. It stuck with me for all these years afterwards, making me angry that I wasn't in a position to truly make it a reality, that it could have helped someone when they needed it the most. Years later, getting to see this game come along and achieve something I had wanted to all those years ago on such a larger scale, giving people who might just be having a bad day a little place they can call home for a little while amidst all the chaos in the world. It makes me feel a little warm inside. Kind Words isn't perfect, but neither are we, and that's okay. Let's just be sure to keep trucking on to a better tomorrow together. No matter what roadblocks come our way, we can accomplish them together. Thank you.